In this weather update, we're forecasting severe weather in Texas and in Iowa. Everything you need to know is coming right up. Alright, welcome back into another more weather forecast video. My name is Beckett Moore and I am back here in the weather room. Took a little break there for a while, but I am back and we do have weather to talk about. So today, looking at the Storm Prediction Center's Day 1 categorical outlook, we do have an enhanced risk, 3 out of 5, on the Storm Prediction Center scale. That does include Dallas-Fort Worth here in northern Texas, all the way down here into parts of central Texas and into southern Oklahoma here as well. Wichita Falls and the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area are both included in this, so good chunk of population. We need to be ready for severe weather tonight in this region. Also up north into St. Louis, up into the Quad Cities, west to Des Moines, and to the east towards Peoria, Illinois. We do have a slight risk for severe weather, 2 out of 5 here. So we do have an enhanced risk down south and a slight risk up here, up north, mainly centered here into southeastern Iowa, northeastern Missouri here, as well as western and northwestern Illinois here. So 2 areas we are going to have to watch for severe storms tonight, and that's why the Storm Prediction Center has put out this outlook. Now looking at the 4 panel here, so we can look at all the threats we have. Looking at the tornado threat, which is the lowest threat today, or tonight, since the storms are going to be coming through tonight, we do have a 5% chance, which is a low chance, but it means we probably will see 1 or 2, maybe up to 3 tornadoes, isolated tornadoes here into this area, this northern area of concern. Down south, we do have a 2%, and then over towards New Orleans, we do have a 2% as well, which means if there's a 2%, the possibility of a tornado is pretty slim, very slim. You could see an isolated tornado, but likely I don't think we'll see a tornado into Texas, but you cannot rule it out, cannot let your guard down. If we're going to see a tornado today, it will likely be up here into Iowa, northern Missouri, and into western Illinois. So isolated tornadoes are possible today, but will not be the biggest threat. But as you can see, the hail threat is going to be a big threat. Up in north into the northern area, centered around Iowa, Illinois, and Missouri, we do have a 15% hatched area, but down south into Texas, near Dallas-Fort Worth, east towards Wichita Falls, we do have a 30% significant hail threat. So we're definitely going to be having to watch for hail tonight in these areas. Again, make sure you have your cars in there. Anything outside that could get dented, make sure you have that inside if you're down there in Texas, because this hail is going to cause problems like it always does. So big time hail threat down there into the southern Great Plains and in Texas there, as you can see, in southern Oklahoma. And then the wind threat, we do have a 15% wind threat up here into Iowa, and then down south towards Texas and Oklahoma, we do have a 30% significant damaging wind threat. So if you're in Dallas-Fort Worth, Wichita Falls, down south, a little bit south of Dallas-Fort Worth, and a little bit north of Dallas-Fort Worth and south of Oklahoma City and Tulsa. As these storms come through tonight, you may be woken up by damaging winds and by hail. So you definitely need to have a way to receive warnings, as we will likely see a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings, because there are going to be severe thunderstorms tonight. So make sure you have a way to wake up, because these storms are going to mean business, and they're going to bring hail and damaging winds, and you need to be ready for that. So now let's time out these storms. Looking at the HRRR model, this is what the radar could look like as we go into the future. This is the 12Z run of the HRRR model. This morning, I'm filming this at 10:50, and this 12Z run came out earlier this morning. So looking at Saturday around 5 p.m. here, you can see we're starting to see storms fire here into northern Texas, but by the time we go into 6 p.m. here, we are really going to see storms start to fire off and become more widespread here into Texas. This is when I think the hail threat will be very high, and as well as later on, but I think the hail threat will be very high at this point as these storms just initially fire off. So we may see a couple, maybe 1 or 2 initial supercells before they congeal into a mesoscale convective system, basically just a cluster or line of storms. So by the time we go into 8 p.m. here, you can see to the west of Dallas-Fort Worth, we do have this kind of cluster of storms. They're going to quickly congeal into that cluster, bring damaging winds and hail east towards Dallas-Fort Worth, all the way here towards Texarkana, Arkansas. So through around 8, really 7 to midnight, these storms are going to be going through southern Oklahoma, northern Texas, and eventually, but will be weakened by they get to the point of Arkansas and northern Louisiana here. So the storms will weaken off probably by the time we go into early morning tomorrow on Sunday into Arkansas and northern Louisiana, but especially here into Dallas-Fort Worth as we go into around 10 to 11 p.m. So probably that 10 for the whole metro area, probably 10 to 12 a.m. or 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. is really going to be when we're going to see these storms go through that whole entire metro area. So you need to be ready for damaging winds and hail in that area. An isolated tornado cannot be ruled out, but I wouldn't expect it. Damaging wind and hail, again, make sure you have a way to receive those warnings. And again, those storms will weaken out by the time they go into Arkansas and Louisiana. So hail, damaging winds, be ready for that as that mesocell convective system or cluster line of storms comes through later tonight there in southern Oklahoma and northern Texas. Now, let's look at the northern extent where we do have a slight risk. Again, we just looked at that, but I'll show it again. We do have that slight risk into Iowa, Illinois, southern Wisconsin, and into northeastern, Missouri here. So looking at the HRBAR model, again, this is what the radar could look like as we go into the future. Going into around 6 p.m. and into 7 p.m., we are going to see the storms we're going to have to watch fire off into northern Missouri and into southern Iowa. As we go into around 8 p.m., we are going to have to watch as these initial supercells fire off. We are going to have to watch for that tornado threat. That's the primary reason why we do have that 5%, because the storms don't congeal as fast up here in Iowa, giving them more time to strengthen and possibly produce an isolated tornado or two. That's why we have that 5% risk. Now, going into 9 p.m., you can see these storms will start to congeal. We're gonna have to watch out for hail and damaging winds into Illinois and southern Iowa by this point here at 9 p.m. And then 10 p.m. we're still seeing storms going through Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, eventually at this point knocking on the doorstep of the Quad Cities. And then by the time we go into here midnight, these storms will have calmed down a bit, but into northern Illinois, we are going to have to watch for storms. These storms down here near St. Louis are going to calm down, weaken off. But still playing this out, we are going to even see storms go through Illinois here by the time we go into around 4 a.m. here. So around 2 to 4 a.m., we're going to see storms going through Chicago here, northern Illinois. Make sure you're ready for that. This is going to be early morning storms, may have some hail and damaging winds on these storms. But for the most extent, by the time we go into Sunday, so by the time we probably go into 7 a.m., these storms will mainly have weakened out. We are going to see severe weather on Sunday, but by this time, these storms will start to weaken out, as you can see right there, as they go into Iowa and Indiana. So let's just rerun this again. Storms are going to fire into 8 p.m., northern Missouri, southern Iowa, and into western Illinois. We're going to have to watch for that. Again, isolated tornado, damaging winds, hail, Quad Cities, Des Moines, as well as Cedar Rapids, down towards Iowa City, and Hannibal, Missouri, Peoria, Illinois, Springfield, and as well as Chicago, early morning on Sunday. You guys are all going to be needing to be prepared for these storms as they come through. So that about wraps up that part of the video. Now let's look at the two outlooks we have for tomorrow and we have for Monday. So for tomorrow, we do have a slight risk here of severe weather centered here into southwestern Illinois or Iowa here, into northwestern Missouri here, northeastern Kansas, and into southeastern Nebraska here. So this is a slight risk, 2 out of 5, not the end of the world, not a severe weather outbreak. We are going to have to watch for severe weather here if you are in this location near Omaha, as well as north of Kansas City. And then for Monday, we do have another slight risk, and this includes St. Louis, almost to Springfield, Missouri, really this region here from Missouri all the way over to Indiana. We're going to have to watch for severe weather on Monday. So as you can tell here, we've had a lot of severe weather threats recently, and we're just going to continue to see that because we're seeing so much warm air moisture and instability just coming up into this region, and if we can just get a little bit of forcing, we can just get storms to fire off like that. We're probably not going to see a lot of severe weather outbreaks because this is May, but we will likely see just day after day of severe weather, so you need to be prepared for that. This is kind of that summertime severe weather pattern where we can just get a little bit of forcing and bam, those storms are going to go off. So a lot of severe weather is on the way, especially for the Great Plains, the central United States, so you definitely do need to be ready for that. Alright, that about wraps up this more weather forecast video. Make sure you're prepared for severe storms today. Texas, Oklahoma, all the way up into Iowa, northern Missouri. As always, subscribe and go follow me on Twitter. Stay prepared out there, especially for the storms today, tomorrow, and on Monday, and I will see you soon with more weather.